Hi, I'm Axel Cramer and welcome to the Joy of Breadmaking. So all we need here is flour, yeast, salt, and water. And actually the way we're going to add it is in reverse order. So you've got 3 cups of fairly hot water, about 100 degrees I like to do it, but it doesn't really matter. You could have room temp water or cold water. It's just going to take a little longer to rise probably. You can use any kind of salt, but I like kosher salt, have found that to be the best. I do about 1 tablespoon, maybe a little more. You get to play around with it. Definitely need salt though in your bread. It will not taste very good. That's one assumption that I found to be true. Take a tablespoon of yeast around that. Again, it's not like perfectly. You don't need to have things exact here. It's an art. So got that, and then just stir in the yeast a little bit, and that's about the equivalent of 1 packet. And this is rapid rise yeast. It's the blue packet, and it's instant yeast, fast rising. It's the blue bottle, not the red one. So you have to remember it. And then about 2 pounds of flour, or 6.5 cups of loose flour. Again, this is going to depend by how much you've packed it in, so it's better to do by weight, but I don't pay attention to that. I just sort of do it by feel, look and feel. But yeah, 6.5 cups. You can get King Arthur's bread flour or other types of flour anywhere. Vaughn's has it. It's 3. Here we go, 4. 6 and a half. That's about half. Okay. And the reason I like King Arthur's is because they are sticklers on the protein content. So now we're just going to stir this up. And at first it looks too dry, although you do have a lot of water in the bottom. You keep stirring it up. Keep on stirring. Yeah, I like the King Arthur's flour because, well, they're a B Corp, which means benefit corporation. They're legally bound to maximize shareholder value, which includes the environment, their employees, their supply chain, which is them. They don't actually really have a supply chain, and their shareholders as well. The owners, the environment. And so they're really doing good stuff. But mainly, as far as just being the best product out there, they're sticklers on the protein content, which is what for different types of bread or cake or whatever you want to make, enables you to have the right amount of rise and stickiness and in the dough. So it won't be like too soft and rise enough. Or too hard, and will just make for a unsatisfying loaf. So I'm just going to stir all this in, just make sure that it's completely incorporated. It ends up looking a little bit wet and sticky, like this. It smells really good. It smells yeasty. Not sure if everyone thinks that smells good, but this kind of yeasty smells good. And especially so you'd probably notice they didn't start with a clean bucket here. That's because I wanted that. I don't like to wash it, because then you get this sort of lazy sourdough where it starts collecting the germs and the bacteria from the air. And I know that sounds gross, but it's actually totally natural in how making sourdough works, and it is good. So this is like a LA, San Diego sourdough we've gotten here. I brought this down from LA where I'm living. All right, and now don't want to overdo it because the yeast is already starting to eat oxygen and burp up the carbon dioxide, so it's already starting to rise. You're already starting to get the air bubbles, and when I'm pounding it there with this guy, you're hearing it pop already. That's really good. I mean, it'll happen for you, believe. Now we just cover it, leave a little crack, not much. I just put this guy on it, and we'll let it sit for about 2 hours or until it's risen a lot. Sometimes it takes longer. You just have to watch it. You know, with this amount of dough that I'm showing you, you'll see it rise up here, and you don't need your own bin. You can use any big bowl and just cover it with saran wrap and just leave a little crack. And yeah, see you in 2 hours. Okay, so now that we've got the bread risen, we can actually just seal it up and pop it in the fridge for up to 3 weeks. But since we want to bake some bread right now, we're going to go ahead and mold the loaf. But first we're going to preheat the oven. So you need a little tray to go in the bottom rack of the oven so you can pour in water and then preheat the oven to 450. Put that down there. Go into preheat to 450. All right, and then we're going to chop off a second, we're going to chop off a piece and do the second rise. So just get a little bit of dough, get a little dough on your hands, sprinkle it over the top so it doesn't stick to your hands too much when you pull it out, and dust the pan a bit. Okay. I think I'm going to make 2 loaves right now, so just reach in there and grab like a large orange-sized piece. If it's really sticky, you know, just dust a little more. And here's where we mold the dough. So we're doing a standard boule shape. So that's just a round piece, and the way that you do it is you stretch it out and then you tuck it under. Turn it 90 degrees, stretch it a little bit, fold it under, stretch it a little bit, fold it under, one last quarter turn, fold it under, and then you have a nice round loaf, or piece of dough. And let's do it again. So what we're doing when we're stretching is we're getting the gluten cloak there. That way, when the bread rises for a second time, which is what, for the next 30 minutes, what the bread's going to be, or the dough's going to be doing, it will actually, the air will actually get caught under this sort of sheen, because otherwise the dough looks kind of, it's really airy and porous, and the air will just pass straight through it. So we're going to wait for about 35 minutes for this to do its second rise and for the oven to preheat, and then we'll pop them in the oven. All right, now we're back and the dough is risen. I let it go for about 45 minutes, and because it looked like it could rise a little bit more. Just really depends. So now just dust the top of the dough so that when we make a couple slices and the bread gets to, will rise through those slices. So I'm going to do one with sort of this design, just maybe 5 slices here. So the dough will rise through those, and it's actually going to expand that one out like that and become more of an oblong shape. With this one, I'm just going to do a crosshatch. And it'll rise straight up, so you're going to get more of a round loaf. So then take about 1 cup of water. We're going to open up the oven, and we're going to pop the bread in the top rack, or the middle rack, and we're going to put the water in the water tray, which we placed in the oven. So that's in the bottom rack, and that creates some steam. And then I'll put the timer on for 33 minutes, because I think that's about what it needs. And I'll see you when we have some really good bread. There you go. Finished product. Enjoy.